Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I got Andy Paul on the program. He recently contributed to an article, to an interview we did online at priceofbusiness.com, and you can see the article there. I want to encourage you to check it out at priceofbusiness.com. We asked him a question about how do you reach the hard-to-reach people, and he was really generous with his time. And we liked what he wrote, and we invited him to come talk about it to our audience today. Andy, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Kevin. How you doing?
Good. Tell us a little bit about your background and what exactly you do.
Well, I'm an author and a speaker. I focus almost exclusively on teaching companies how to sell more effectively and sell faster.
Okay. What are your typical clients? Kind of give me an overview of your clients.
Oh, my clients typically mid-sized companies, mid-cap companies are $200 million and less, let's say, in their sales per year.
And, okay, and so a mid-market, clearly mid-market, though. You probably
Right.
have very few that you would put in a small or even medium business area.
Well, no, actually, it's sort of from there down to, I work with executives of companies as small as $5 million a year.
Yeah, and you got to buy in it's as low as a book, and so
Yep.
so that makes it, you can't buy a book. You probably ought to reevaluate what you're doing for a living, So
Well, yeah, and actually, it's a great point because something that's really sort of a real important topic that people have in the sales field these days is, how much are salespeople and CEOs and entrepreneurs willing to invest in this process of sales.
Yeah, so tell me about about your approach to reaching the hard to reach, because I theorize, and I believe this, and I've spoken, I've given speeches about this myself, that the reality is that a lot of the things that is supposed to make it easier to engage with people, like social media, is actually making it harder. It's creating more distractions. It makes it more difficult for even individuals to be present when they're able to even try to begin to get their attention. And so it actually is requiring almost more sophistication than just a couple decades ago. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it's requiring more specialized knowledge about your business in terms of products that you're selling and more specialized knowledge about your customer's business, because you're exactly right. There's way more distractions out there. So when you have that opportunity to engage with someone, let's say through a LinkedIn connection, is you need to be able to ask that question that's going to say to the prospective customer, wow, this person gets it, right? This person gets it. They may have something of value to offer me that no one else does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you get that attention?
Well, I think a really, to me, the most important way that you can do that, and I think that there's consensus around this for people that are experts in this sort of social selling field, is that it is that opening question, right? And so if let's say you're trying to connect with somebody via LinkedIn and they're getting, 100 emails a day and they're getting 20 connection requests a day, and as you said, they're just feeling distracted. Why call it the killer question? What is that question that understand about your customer's business and what they need to accomplish in order to either increase their sales, productivity, or whatever the area of improvement that your product or service is going to offer? Is what's the one question you have that's going to show the customer that you have some insights that have value to them, that they want to be able to return that call, they want to be able to make that connection, because they want to learn what you know.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All right, so give me an example.
Well, example could be is one that I use in my business is I challenge people to tell me, what's the length of their sales cycle and how many hours they're investing in a deal. So from the time they get an inquiry from a customer or the first contact with the customer and the time the deal is done, how many hours are they investing in that? Because that's the most important determinant ultimately of sales productivity. And so leading with that question, what I get is VPs of sales and CEOs and entrepreneurs are saying, well, I've never thought about that. That's really interesting. I want to learn more. And so it's that opening gambit, that opening question that really frames that initial discussion and provides incentive or motivation for the customer to reach back out.
Okay. Seems to me, though, that there's a lot of opportunity for that kind of engagement that I know I get it. I can't tell you how much I get approached with people with, similar angles, although I do like the idea. It's very important if you're going to try to sell to anyone to, I love this cliche I heard, be interested more than interesting. And to me, that's a very powerful cliche. And I think it's almost antithetical to our business culture today, where we're all about selfies and we're all about tweeting and we're all about advocating. This idea of talking about the person you're trying to approach rather than about yourself, pretty powerful.
Well, right, and I think the reason that is powerful again is that people are making an investment of time in you. If you're reaching out to someone to make a contact with them or to try to prospect them, they're investing some time in you. And if you can't provide value for that time, even that 30 seconds that it takes them to read your email, they're not going to take the next step with you. And so you have to think about it as a salesperson, this prospect is giving me their time. What am I giving them of value in return? What's their ROI on the time that they're investing in me? Mm-hmm. If you don't know the answer to that question, then you shouldn't be spending your time reaching out to these people because they're not going to respond to you.
Yeah. So like in my case, I literally get hundreds of emails every day, and that's probably, I get more than most, obviously. But I've read, I think it's Baker Communications. They are friends of this program, in fact, and have been involved as contributors to this program. They were telling me, the typical exec is getting over 500 legitimate emails on a weekly basis. How do you get your email noticed in an environment like that?
That's tough, right? Because there's nothing you can do really in that environment. So, people sort of default to, okay, what's my subject line? What's my opening paragraph? And certainly those are all worth spending time on. But I think that there is incredible value in using your tools like LinkedIn, like Twitter, there's a great software program called Nimble, which is a social engagement tool. It's sort of like a CRM package, but it enables you to track the social history and social conversations that your prospective customers are having. So you can, before you even make that first contact, you can find out what's important to them, not just from a business perspective, but for them personally, what topics they're engaging on, what topics they're having conversations on, and help shape your initial opening of their question or subject line to fit what they're interested in.
Andy, I appreciate your time. Thinks I have to wrap it up. Andy Paul, and he's got a great book called Amp Up Your Sales. Check it out at andypaul.com. While there, you can get a free chapter. Thanks for your time today.
Hey, thank you very much, Kevin.
When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdatareview.com. I am Kevin Price, and this is The Price of Business.